forget to look from the bottom all the way to the top of the vehicle. We can see visually the condition and security of the bodywork. As we move along the vehicle, we've got the wipers. You will see later the operation of them, but we can visually see things like security at this stage. The bodywork, the condition of the lights. We need to check the operation of the lights as well. Then we move round the vehicle to this side, and we've got another mirror. Remember, all the time keeping an eye on the bodywork. We've got the windows to check. There may be occasions where flaps or doors may need to be opened with a key to access things, where a driver can check on some types of vehicles. As we continue to move down the vehicle, we come across the tyres and the wheels. We need to check things like the condition of the tyres for defects such as cuts and the cords exposed, the condition of the tread area. And then into the wheel, are all the wheel nuts in place? Are all the wheel nuts tight? The wheel nuts can be seen if they're loose sometimes if the nuts are backed away from the wheel without actually having to use a spanner on them. Look out for witness marks left by rust, which often give evidence of the wheel being loose. And then continue down the vehicle, from time to time taking a step back to cover all the bodywork. As we go on, we have another tyre and wheel, and remember, this time in a lot of cases there will be 2 tyres and wheels to check. As we continue on this vehicle, we have the fuel cap here, which we need to be checking to see if there's a fuel spillage and if the seal is in place on the cap. From there on, we come across an emergency exit, which we can check that it's marked and that we can open it. It operates and it closes and stays closed and secure. Continuing to move to the rear now, as well as the bodywork, we have the lights. And again, we need to see things like the operation of the lights, if we recall the does it work. And you may need an assistant to help you check these, or you may have a reflective surface behind the vehicle, such as a window or maybe the windscreen of a vehicle parked behind it. For a rear engine bus in particular, there may be a bonnet cover which you'll need to check that that's securely locked. And you could be looking underneath to see for evidence of oil or fuel leaks left on the floor. With the bodywork on a double-decker vehicle, you've probably got an emergency exit to see that that is complete and marked. As we refer to bodywork, remember, the more serious damage will hurt people, and although minor damage may not cause injuries, it's worth noting. As we then go to the near side of the vehicle, much of what we will come across is what we've dealt with on the other side, with the addition of 1 or 2 items. Again, the whole of the side of the bodywork, and we have the tyres and the wheel for the same things that we checked before. But we got here on this vehicle an emergency stop, or fuel cut off, another description for it. We can see there that it's got one, it's marked, and we can actually try it to see that it operates. As we move down on this vehicle, it has a centre door, which we can check to see if it's going to cause any injuries, its operation, check that it's secure, and of course check the emergency control to see that it opens. Whilst it's open, why not check the handrails? And to continue, we then have the other wheel and tyre, and then we move finally on the outside to the entrance door, and we do the same checks as we did on the centre exit, including the emergency control. Then we move into the vehicle to start the interior check. As we go, and we're going to check the floors as we walk round, we'll step and check the steps as we enter, and the handrails. The people are going to use these, so bear in mind, are they going to be injured by them in any way? perhaps being insecure or sharp edges. So we can now move inside, checking visually anything that comes into our eyesight as we go. And we can start looking all the way from the roof right the way to the floor and all points in between. We've got all sorts of handrails to check, interior surfaces. A point to remember there, as well as being where people can injure themselves, is are they clean? Can people soil their clothing on interior surfaces and seats, etc. We have things to look out for that may be missing, such as a fire extinguisher. And on certain types of vehicles they need to carry a first aid kit. On this one we've got a bell push, so we test that the bell operates. Panels, and we go down checking the floors, looking for dangers of people slipping or perhaps tripping. Another item that has to be checked whilst we go around is the interior lighting to see that that's operative. At the rear we have an emergency exit that we've checked from the exterior. We can now check it from the inside to see that it operates. Remember, it's marked on there that it does operate completely from the inside and open, and that the warning buzzer is in operation. And we now move back down this side of the bus, checking all the same things as we did over this side in the reverse order. On some vehicles there may be other things that are checked that are not on this one, such as parcel racks, etc. And now we can come to the doors, the centre exit on this vehicle, but we can also do this check with the entrance at the front of the bus. In particular, we need to check that the emergency controls are in position and operating. When we press the button to see that the doors operate satisfactorily. From there we can continue and complete the check of the lower saloon by carrying on to the front of the vehicle. We would now move to the upstairs and do the same sort of checks that we've done downstairs, checking the staircase as we go up.
Although this is a double-decker bus, the principle of the inspection routine is easily applied to other vehicles such as coaches. On these, there may be other items that can be checked, such as seat belts. When the interior has been checked, it's then time to go to the driver's cab.
And before we move in, we can check the driver's seat to see that that's secure and sound, and if it has seat belts fitted, that they're okay. When in the driver's seat, the first thing that you can check is the driver's accommodation. That's the floor, the sides, the windows, the windscreen, the view to the front, the view through the mirrors, including the periscope, if the mirrors are serviceable. And then we can start to look at things like the switches for the lights, the light switches, the direction indicators and hazard warning lights, windscreen wipers and washers. Then we can look at the other electrical switches to see that they're all operating correctly. And then we can start to look at the driving controls with the steering wheel and the brake controls and accelerator. Are they all operating correctly in the manner that they should, and nothing insecure? For example, the handbrake control. We can operate the doors to see that they're operating satisfactorily, and then we can check the low air pressure warning device, which could be a light or a buzzer or in fact gauges. Whilst the engine's running, you can check the air pressure build-up rate, that's satisfactory. And you can also take the opportunity to look at the smoke emission, perhaps through the window or the mirror, to see that that's not excessive. You can also check the demister operation, and when the engine and the air pressure has built up, press the brake and listen for any air leaks. When the vehicle starts to drive along, check the operation of the speedometer, listen out for any unusual noises, and remember one thing, always be aware of the height of your vehicle.
So remember the questions to ask yourself when checking anything on the vehicle. Does everything work? Is anything missing? Is anything loose? Could anything on the vehicle harm anyone? Does the vehicle create a nuisance? And have you got proper control of the vehicle? The operator must make sure that daily walk-round checks are carried out by a responsible person, which in some organisations may be someone other than the driver. You need to check this with your employer. The defects that are found on walk-round checks must be reported in writing, either by the driver or the person responsible for recording them. The Guide to Maintaining Roadworthiness gives an example of a form that can be used for this, although operators may use their own design of reporting system. You will find that these walk-round checks can be completed in just a few minutes. If you find what you think is a serious defect, don't drive the vehicle. Report it using the reporting system in place in your organisation. The daily walk-round checks form an important part of the overall maintenance system of an operator, and they complement the regular, full safety inspections carried out by the maintenance staff. The driver's checking role doesn't end when the vehicle sets off. Drivers must monitor the roadworthiness of their vehicle as they drive. They must be alert to any indication that their vehicle may be developing a fault.
Okay, that's fine, driver.
Lovely.
The driver has a vital part to play in the maintenance of any vehicle. As well as the police, the Vehicle Inspectorate do take their own prosecutions against operators and drivers. A significant number of prohibitions and prosecutions taken against operators and drivers could be avoided if drivers carried out regular walk-round inspections. Through these systems, the Vehicle Inspectorate's primary objective is improving road safety for everybody.
A walk-round check only takes a few minutes, but it can save a lot of trouble for the operator and the driver. It could even save the driver's license.
This is what you get if you cross a double-decker bus with a van driver and a window cleaner.
Oh, that was a big curve there, Matthew.
Now, for all of you who don't know, this is a London bus, and this one's a bit special. It's one of a fleet of 17 that knock 300 trainees per year into shape and hopefully into a successful career on the buses. Today we've got 2 new recruits who've never driven a bus in their lives before. The biggest thing Matt's driven is a van, so he's going to be driving on a whole new scale. Jo has just about done it all, from pubs, clubs, window cleaning to delivering sweets. But she loves driving and meeting the public, so bus driving is the one for her. Now Steve Sparkle, he's a bit of a diamond. He's a man in the know. He's won more awards for bus driving than he knows what to do with. He likes to have a bit of a laugh, so they better watch out. These Metro buses are fair old pieces of kit. They weigh 9.5 tons, and that's when they're empty. They're 4.3 metres tall, 2.5 metres wide and 9.4 metres long. And our Steve loves them. The engines are a whacking great 11.5 litres, and they don't half drink the fuel. 4 kilometres to the litre, that's 2.5 times that of an average car. Now these same engines can be found powering fairground rides because they're very durable and powerful machines. There's no chance of getting clamped with these buses. They've got tyres that are just over 1 metre high. The yellow discs are a new feature. They're there to make sure the wheel nuts are secure. If not in line, then a bit of tightening is needed. Metro buses are fuelled with diesel, but it's not any old fuel. It's ultra low in sulphur, which reduces greenhouse gas emissions, and when they're full, they have 220 litres in their belly. Now inside the bus, the upholstery is all non-flammable, which allows for 71 people to sit in comfort, safe in the knowledge that if there is a fire, they won't burn their bums. Over to you, Steve.
First thing we have to do each day after taking over the vehicle is check our test button. This tells us all our electrical instrumentation on the panel and also our audible warnings. Going round the vehicle, we have our start button and our stop button, and also our door closure buttons.
These Metrobuses are automatic. They've got 3 gears and a handbrake, which must be on when stationary. It's all at the press of 3 buttons: third gear, drive and reverse. There's an extra safety feature, an emergency handbrake that Steve can apply if things get out of hand, bringing the bus to an abrupt halt.
To start the vehicle, we have an electronic device. And we place that in there. Push the start button there. We have the electrical system in place. Then to start the vehicle, once again reapply the green start button. And that's it.
Not quite, Steve. This little gizmo is actually called the starter, and it joins the electrical circuits on the bus together, allowing it to start. They were developed to stop the buses being stolen about 9 years ago. Students are given their very own if they pass their test. But Matt and Joe are nowhere near their test. They've got to get to grips with this beast first, but before that, it's a bit of a pep talk from our Stevie.
I actually get a buzz out of people passing their test. I will try 100%, you've got to try 100%. Because it's not as easy as what you think it's going to be. Right, whatever people say about bus drivers, at the end of the day, they're the pilot of an aeroplane, they're the captain of a ship. Right? You are going to be in charge of this vehicle. And it is a lethal weapon. You've got 9.5 tonnes here. If you hit someone at 5 or 10 mile an hour with 9.5 tonnes, it's going to hurt them.
You're not wrong there, son. The safety of the passengers is crucial, and the one thing the bus service doesn't need is boy racers. So from day one, Steve likes to emphasise the safety aspects of driving a bus.
Without breaking the skin. Okay, nice and steady. Checking both mirrors out the garage. Checking around for anybody who may be walking up the road. Left hand indicator. Remember, it's a slow-moving vehicle, so we need plenty of time, just as though you can walk out onto the road, as opposed to speed getting out on the road. We're going to chuck our passengers around. Now the wheels are behind you, so give yourself plenty of room to move out. You've got to go about 6 foot forward before you can move out, okay? Checking both mirrors and gradually pick our speed up. Now remember, the mirrors are very, very important. You've got a slow moving vehicle, so traffic will be trying to overtake you at all times.
Because it's their first time driving, Steve takes his students away from the serious congestion of London so they can get used to the controls. And now he's giving them a bit of a textbook display. It's their turn. First up is Joe.
Right, here we go. So, near side mirror?
Yeah.
No, that's offside.
Near side.
Right. Near side, offside, indicate. Alright, keep looking in the offside mirror. Can you see your gap, which is now? Over your shoulder, near side, and away.
This is the first ever time Joe has been behind the wheel of a London bus.
Just relax a little bit, sit back, that's it.
Matt's relieved he wasn't first.
Right, we're coming across our first hazard now, which is a bridge. Why do you think this bridge is?
It's got to be. Is it high enough because we can get through? Otherwise,
I'm
it'll be
asking
marked.
you, you're driving, aren't you? Well done, 16'6". This vehicle's 14'6". So any unmarked bridge is 16'6".
It's nerve-wracking.
But you're nervous. So I'm crapping myself here. There we go, we're coming up to our first roundabout now. Following the road ahead, second exit. And there's our first curb of the day.
Hitting the curb is one of the most common mistakes because trainees forget that this vehicle is 2.5 metres wide, over 9 metres long, and forget how much bus is behind them.
Well, hitting the
You're
curb.
really disappointed.
I'm hitting the curb, of course I am.
If I could have a cup of tea for every trainee that's hit that bend, I'd be a tearholic by now.
Because of its size, using the mirrors to position yourself on the road is a crucial part of driving a bus.
That's better. Remember MSM from your early driving days? Mirror signal manoeuvre. The other way, of course, I'll be teaching you to drive is PSL. What does PSL mean?
As person.
Definitely silence greeted the instructor. Now, position, speed, look. Alright, when you're driving a big vehicle, your position is imperative.
As Joe's got past the first few roundabouts, it's onto the narrower streets and a few bumps in the road. No one likes a sleeping policeman, but bus drivers have a trick to smooth out the ride. What you have to do is to line up the centre of the bus with the painted triangles on the bump, and over you go, smooth as a baby's bottom. It's as easy as that.
Just got a big vehicle coming towards you. Is that triangle on the floor?
Yeah.
That's it. There you go. Right, just saying over there. Right?
Yeah.
That's it. 10 mile an hour maximum speed over the speed humps. Checking your mirrors. And go circumnavigate the roundabout.
This little one.
Yeah.
There's a mini one.
Yeah, that's it. Steer a bit faster.
Here we go.
Oops. Oh.
I was going to go over then. Sorry, lads.
Nah, steering. Come on, push and pull. Think
Well.
logically. Think logically. All right, let's think illogically.
I feel
If
sick.
you're going to do something that way, you've got to steer that way, ain't you?
The key to turning such a large vehicle in a confined space is to head straight into the turn. The rear tyres have to be clear of the inside curb before you can begin to turn. Then it's full lock on the steering wheel, keeping the speed down, and the bus will turn sharply. To avoid hitting the curb on exit, again you have to clear the rear wheels before turning. But once the rear of the bus is clear, you can straighten up, and off you go.
I won't let you do nothing dangerous, believe me. I've got this handbrake here, it's going to stop you doing anything dangerous whatsoever. But if you're only going to make a minor mistake, I'll let you make the minor mistake, and then we'll rectify it.
I need a cuddle. need reassuring.
Oh, no, I don't worry so much about that. It's when Matthew says that to me.
Joe got caught on the hop with that little test, so it was a quick spin round the block and back to have another go. Now these buses are well used to toing and froing around the side roads. To keep them in good working order, they're given a full service every 4 weeks.
Once again, we're going to circumnavigate the roundabout. Right, now let's have a little think. Ease off,
Yeah.
slow it down. Now, this time you've got to cut the corner.
That's right, because I'm coming into the corner.
Yeah,
and
so last time you tried to go
Yeah.
around it. When your rear wheels are clear of that corner,
Right.
then turn that way.
Right.
Right, now slow
Then-
it down. Now work hard. Come on. That's it. Just turn the wheel. Come on, all of it on. That's it.
Right,
Ease it
got it.
down. Give yourself time to do everything. Left hand mirror. Left hand mirror, left hand signal. Now, once again, when you're leaving this time, you hit this one on the way out last time, just keep aiming towards them bushes. Check ahead. Make sure nothing's coming towards you. Just keep aiming towards them bushes. Keep going that way. That's it. Now turn the corner.
Yeah, but then so a car was coming.
Well, you'd have to stop, wouldn't you? You'd have to stop before you went on the other side of the road. That's all you got to do.
Joe completed that one very nicely, but she'd had her share of excitement for the morning, so it was back to the local supermarket car park for a well-deserved cup of tea and a changeover.
See, you took that corner very well. All because you gave yourself time to look. Speed comes about later.
Yeah, that's
All right. Pull in behind Mr. Golden Boy. That's nice and steady, cover your brake. Move out that way a little bit. That's it, hit the curb, there, nice and straight. Stop. Handbrake on. Switch your engine off.
Joe's done well for her first time, and despite a bit of banter, Steve's impressed.
Relief or what?
I feel a bit better going around the corners. I just have to go slower.
Our examiner will give you exactly the same chat after you've finished your test. He'll say to you, build your speed up as you go along. And I can tell you now she will definitely pass her test.
Oh, I hope I do. Right.
After some quick refreshment, they were off again. This time it was Matt in the captain's seat.
So Matt, you've seen Joe have a go. How are you feeling?
Nervous, very nervous.
The bus can't move unless the doors are closed, so that's first. And then a few pre-flight checks, and Matt will be off.
Left hand on the steering wheel. Right, near side mirror, off side mirror, indicate. Okay, over your shoulder, near side, and away.
Matt looks like a bundle of nerves, but we'll see later what trick Steve's got up his sleeve to test his driving skills. We'll also find out if Joe and Matt have got what it takes to be fully fledged bus drivers when they go for their tests. Joe made it through her first ever lesson on a London bus, and now it's Matt's turn, and he's looking a little off colour.
Your side mirror. Stop it.
Later on, they'll be taking their driving tests, which could be the start of a brand new career. Steve, the instructor, is confident that Matt can drive the bus, as he was a van driver by trade, but it's a matter of spotting his bad habits and getting rid of them. If he passes, he'll have a live cargo, and that's a whole different ballgame from delivering a couple of parcels. Having driven for a while, Matt's nerves wore off. In fact, he was so comfortable, he was ready to chat.
I just love driving. I was getting no satisfaction out of driving a white van.
What you meant to say is you like meeting people. Now he's relaxed a little bit, he's beginning to look the part a little bit now, ain't you? And one smooth brake now. Now keep your foot going down on it, don't release it, just keep it going down. Bring it down nice and smooth, nice and smooth. There's Matthew's first curb of the day. Oh, same curb as what Joe is.
Matt might look as if he's trying to stop Joe learning her highway code, but in fact he's just a bit out of
On the
control.
road ahead, come on. Where are we going? On the road ahead. Too fast. Oh, that was a big curve there, Matthew.
A bit on it. It's hard to gauge it when you're used to driving a car because you've only got the car door as the edge, haven't you? With this, you've got the space between you and the window. It's hard to gauge the wheel base.
Well, Matt gave the bus a bit of a wallop there, but don't worry, Metrobuses can handle that. They've got a great suspension system with anti-roll bars and shock absorbers, allowing them to lean a maximum of 28 degrees before turning on their side, and that's quite some angle for a vehicle of this height. If the bus does get a few knocks, the bodywork is made from aluminium and fiberglass, so it's easily repaired or replaced.
Bit too close. Move out a little bit, Matthew. Remember, the wing mirrors protrude further than the bodywork.
Having hit a few corners, it was now time to practice pulling away from a bus stop, but Matt had just got a little too casual.
Does that look professional to you?
No.
All right, we've got one hand on our knee, haven't we? We're not even in gear. Flick the indicator on without looking in the mirrors. So that's a complete waste of time, isn't it? And let's start again. All right, if you went onto the aeroplane, you see the pilot going, oh, which one should I do now? Oh, let's have a do this. You'd be getting worried, wouldn't you? You'd be
Getting off.
Yeah, well, that's it. You'd be getting worried. And that's what your passengers, it's the same way your passengers would be feeling. They think this bloke don't know what he's doing. All right, and they'd be getting off. Well, that's better. Now we can check our near side mirror. Now we can check our offside mirror.
Although Steve is playing with Matt, it is vital that drivers portray the right image, because the London bus service plays a huge part in transporting Londoners from A to B. 4 million passengers travel on a bus every day. That's 1.27 billion bus journeys made per year, making it the biggest transporter of people in the capital. And what's more, a London bus uses less energy per passenger kilometre travelled than any other motorised vehicle. As they made their way back to base, both Matt and Joe had reason to feel pleased. Despite a few knocked curbs, they had done well, and Steve was satisfied with their first day's training.
All his problems so far have been speed related. There haven't been catastrophes, shall we say, like although he's been mounting the curb, it all boils down to PSL, position, speed, look. He's had his position wrong, he's turned a bit too soon, and the speed he's been travelling hasn't given him time to correct his faults. That's nothing to worry about on the first day.
They sort of perform how you thought they would?
Joe probably performed a little bit better than what I thought. And Matthew fell very much into van driver mode. Go on in, how was that?
A bit annoyed with myself that I kept it in the curbs, but I'll sort it out. No problem.
Yeah, you looked a bit more relaxed at near the end of your drive.
Yeah, so I've got to get used to driving an automatic. It's a lot different.
You going to make any predictions?
Well, yeah, it'd be all right.
That was day one over. In the next few weeks, there was much to learn. If Joe and Matt pass their tests, they've got jobs for life. They just don't give these licences away. There's a bundle of info to soak in from the highway code, health and safety, hazard awareness, the ins and outs of using radios, and if that's not enough, a ton more driving. A trainee will clock in over 400 kilometres on an average week learning to drive. One of the main features of the bus test is reversing, and this is no easy task. You have to use both wing mirrors. Now, the buses are fitted with a safety device limiting the reversing speed to 5 kilometres an hour, and they have to reverse into an area 3.6 metres wide, and if they knock anything over, it's instant failure. Matt and Joe were making fast progress, so 2 weeks into the training, it was test time. Before any driving is done, they have to pass a theory test. 30 questions about everything from braking systems to driver attitude, and they've got 1 hour to do it. Now, Matt was first up. He passed the theory, but he still had the driving test, and how was he feeling?
Very nervous. Not a religious man, but I was looking around for St Christopher this morning.
How have the last couple of weeks been?
Yeah, all right. Get rid of all my faults, all my mistakes, hopefully.
Yesterday, his drive was spot on, which is just how it should have been. There's nothing more I can do for him. He's just got to show what he's been taught to do, and he'll pass his test. As simple as that.
About 60% of trainees pass first time, but don't be fooled. This isn't some drive around the park. The test is hard. Reversing, turning corners, roundabouts, light and heavy traffic is all part of the challenge. And this is no Mini Cooper. It's a 9-metre vehicle fighting for space on the busy streets of London, and they've got to concentrate for 1.5 hours.
Tried to give a show for each driver. He's been a little bit slow and hesitant. He's missed a few mirrors here and there. Depends very much on how the examiners see it. Of course, he's still got his reversing to do, so we'll see how he goes on this.
That looks very impressive, but I tell you, I wouldn't want to be in Matt's seat right now.
Perfect reverse. Shame the rest of the drive wasn't.
Steve had been right. Matt had fouled because he'd been too cautious and wasn't driving according to the traffic conditions.
Matthew, what happened?
Couple of silly little mistakes. Let the occasion get ahead of me. I think next time it won't be quite so nerve-wracking. I know what's what and what's expected of me.
So for Matt, it was off for more practice. Now, Jo had struggled with the theory test, but on her third attempt, she'd been lucky. And as she left with the examiner, she was hoping to beat Matt to a life on the buses. Unfortunately, the occasion got the better of her, and there was more disappointment. Having done so well in practice, Steve was frankly not too impressed.
She said don't be hard. I think it was abysmal actually, because everything I taught her to do, I might as well just thrown away. Nerves got the better of her, but she didn't see nothing because of the speed she was travelling at.
Everything he said's right. At the time I didn't think I was speeding, but there's just so much going on in your head, you know. We did go through a couple of sticky situations. There was an ambulance coming, police, car. That's going to happen all the time, so I've got to be aware of things like that, but it was just, I was just basically, my nerves went.
It wasn't long before Matt was back at the test centre. Having worked hard for nearly 3 weeks and given up his previous job as a van driver, Matt was determined to get it right, second time around. When he returned, it was a few final questions with the examiner, but things were looking much more positive.
Right, it's a relief, isn't it?
So what happened there then?
Well, he showed a lot more grit. You can see a little bit more determination in his face today. He got to the last 20 minutes or so, and he really knuckled down to it then. And he's got his reward. Well done, Matthew. It's the culmination of 4 weeks' work. One of the very good things about my job is I see an end product, and this is my end product today. Now that man there has got a job for the rest of his life. Obviously he's got to keep his licence, that's down to him. I'm pleased with the end product anyway. Let's hope some other people are, namely our passengers.
How do you feel now?
Chuffed. I'm grateful to Steve for teaching me all this worldly knowledge.
As Matt went off to celebrate and Steve left for his holidays, Jo found herself at the new bus, a new instructor and another test, and she wasn't looking too happy. Trainees normally get 3 bites of the cherry. If they fail their test more than that, then it's all over Red Rover. But Steve had made this prediction on her first day.
And I can tell you now she will definitely pass the test.
And now the question was, with Steve not there and Jo a bag of nerves, would he be right? Not this time. Her steering and her positioning in the road were not quite up to scratch, and she was clearly upset.
Can't work under pressure. Never ever be able to. But I'll do it for their time. Because I'm definitely not being a conductor.
After 5 weeks of learning the ropes, Matt has made it through. He's got a brand new bus, a new outfit and a long-term career, just what he wanted. And as for our Jo,
First day.
on the 3rd attempt she made it. She's off to paint the town red and she couldn't be happier.
I've done it.
And finally, Steve. Well, he's back on the road again with a brand new set of students and a few new gags to tell.
My actual wages ain't a lot, but my danger money's brilliant.